And this should be one of the more fascinating editions of Dallas Cowboys thank you and no thank you notes that we've ever had.
I would say so.
Because look, Steven said it. We've had plenty of people say it this morning, and I understand that. You never go out and apologize for a loss. So I understand the positivity. I can guess that there will probably be plenty of negative notes as well. But
Can I say this is going to be, and I can't believe I'm starting it off with this.
Oh dear.
This is a thank you note regarding the Cowboys game.
Okay.
But it is a thank you note to the Giants.
Okay.
This is a positive thank you note though, Kevin.
Boo.
Thank you to Malik Neighbors for showing me that you can catch a football with your eyes closed. Kyer Elam's hand was over Malik Neighbors' face mask, and he still caught that football for a touchdown. And that was just insane to me. Like, just that dude is that good. Like, he is that good. Now, obviously not good enough to win the game because they really needed him late in that game, but put him in the right position. Big game from Malik Neighbors yesterday for sure.
Okay.
But that catch was just wildly impressive, man.
Yeah, I will.
Terribly impressive.
Okay, you told me not to say that. Now, this is can I give a thank you note and a no thank you note to the exact same player?
Yes.
All right. No thank you to Dak Prescott for ending the second half by the first half by not quite knowing how the play clock works. That was really frustrating. But thank you note to Dak Prescott for playing exceedingly better as the game went along. We talked about it, 15-20 in the fourth quarter and overtime for 187 yards, 117 passer rating, and a touchdown. So thank you to him for that down the stretch. Also, thank you note to the defense. I know you might be like, hold on just a minute. I watched that game yesterday. Fair enough. Afterwards, Dak Prescott said that multiple defensive teammates apologized for putting him in such a bad situation. And Prescott thanked them for denying the Giants points following his interception. And I just appreciate that level of accountability of being like, hey, we stunk. Sorry that we made it, that you had to score all of the points in the world to try to just get this game to overtime. And I appreciate that.
Yeah, man. That was... It was rough. Well, here we are now.
Okay.
With a win.
Do we say thank you to the Giants for calling a designed play for Jackson Dart to fall down?
He that was not designed for him to fall down. Nobody's designing.
Hold on. Wait. Now I'm going to use Corey logic. I never get to do this. Corey? Was the play designed for him?
It was designed.
Yes or no?
Yes.
Corey, did Jackson Dart fall down?
He did fall down.
Thus, was the play not designed for Jackson Dart to fall down?
No. There's nobody draws up a play for negative yards.
What about when they kneel the ball?
There's one play drawn up for negative yards that the entire universe of football runs.
Okay.
God, you're on a roll right now, and I'm proud. I'm so proud the way that you're using Corey logic right now.
I never get to do that.
Really impressive. I like what you're doing with the way that play went. He was very frustrated by slipping and falling on that play.
For sure.
You could see it because he knows his opportunities to impress are very few and far between. And so this is his chance to be on the field, show that that he can do his thing, and he wanted to do something special for his team. And that was a big moment.
Did it baffle you at all the way and the times in which he was brought in?
No. I did have this feeling because Kevin, that game wasn't really like Russ didn't look great really to me until the fourth quarter. Like great whenever he started delivering big time passes.
Okay.
I thought the offense,
I don't know if I
in the
agree
red
with
zone, they struggled. That's why they only had 6 points to start the game.
They were stinking in the red zone.
And so there were some moments when I was like, I felt the Cowboys made him look better than he did. I really think that there was a moment where Dable was like, Jackson Dart's about to take this game over and be our starting quarterback from here on.
Right.
I really started to feel that way. All I need is for him to be impressive and Russ to look bad. Unfortunately, Russ continued to look good, and I think Dable was like, well, I guess I just got to keep going with the hot hand. And there was a moment, Kevin, where it did feel like the Tim Tebow, Chris Leak situation. You have two quarterbacks, therefore you have no quarterbacks. Right. And so
although that turned out pretty well for Florida.
Yeah, and ultimately it did. And I was like, okay, when's the moment where they're just going to leave Dart in longer?
Yeah,
and it never ultimately got to that.
Yeah,
but that is kind of what I thought was going. I understand what you're saying. It just felt like he was like, I'm just going to get him in there, and they're going to be rotating, and that's going to be how it's going to be tough. Good luck to you. Whoever wins. From
the 469, man, we're seeing a lot of this today. The thank you and no thank you to the same player. Thank you to Donovan Wilson for the interception. No thank you to Donovan Wilson for the rest of the game, including when he it wasn't totally, but he kind of got trucked by Scattaboo as well. And that's one of the things, Alec, is like,
big, strong running back.
Donovan Wilson is known for physicality, and so that was a little bit jarring to see him get kind of taken back a little bit.
It is, because he's known for one thing and one thing only. It's certainly not coverage. It's being a heat-seeking missile.
Yes.
And to see him get kind of owned in that moment was unfortunate. That's when I tweeted. I was like, I don't think he's very good anymore. And then he makes the interception that, it was a lollipop right to him, but still he comes down with it, and that turns the game around for you. So thank you and no thank you.
Yeah, that was a can of corn.
Yeah, actually, that is the best usage of that in a football context I think I've ever heard. From the 314, and I get it, that interception was great, but thrown nowhere near the receiver. I will say thank you to Russell Wilson for maybe thinking there was like 2 minutes, just 11 seconds left on the clock instead of like 2 minutes and 11 seconds, because he threw that up as if he had no situational awareness of what was happening in the game whatsoever. From the 806, no thank you to Kyer Elam. This ain't training camp anymore. I tried to convince myself of this yesterday. I don't know if you went through the same saga. I thought Kyer Elam was good in week one, with the obvious exception of the bomb he gave up. So when he got torched again early on a long pass, I was like, okay, maybe this is going to be the deal that we have to make. He will give you perfectly serviceable, if not better than serviceable, coverage for the rest of the game, but give up a big play. Yesterday, maybe did not feel like
you found his weakness.
Yeah, the deep ball.
The deep ball.
That's a pretty big weakness.
That's the one that
in football.
We would like you to not have that weakness if possible. I'd like to thank CeeDee Lamb for looking more like CeeDee Lamb in this game. Now again, 9 catches, 112 yards. Like he had that in the last game pretty much, but there were a couple of big catches that he made in this game. I know there were a couple of balls that hit off of his hands that he would have liked to have had back too. But I thought he had a very good bounce back game, and it didn't feel like he got involved in the game until later on, which I thought was crazy because Schottenheimer was like, yeah, of course we're going to get the ball to him early. That's how we run our offense. And they were like, we're going to wait a little bit before we start going to CeeDee Lamb a lot.
Right. And then I got to say thank you to George Pickens for being able to draw those pass interferences.
Dude,
and
it's a skill.
I was listening on the TV broadcast where it was Greg Olson who was lamenting the underthrown pass interference call, right?
Yeah.
When he's like, look, the defender is doing what they're supposed to. The receiver has to stop. Because on the first pass interference, I think it was, George Pickens definitely had to stop because it looked like he had a free and clear route. Luckily, that led to pass interference. But otherwise, he should have just kind of taken off with that thing. That is difficult for the defense to handle the underthrown pass.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. I mean, again, I think that Tom Brady made a career off of that pass in particular. I need a receiver that is that weapon. You have to have you can't just be like, oh, Jalen Tolbert, because Jalen Tolbert's not getting the same call that I think that Pickens is getting. Now, Pickens obviously gets that call too because he's out in front of the cornerback. He's got, he's the talent that is out there for it. And Kevin, I go back to, I wish we kept the stat for him. For that, because that Tom Brady, I bet you could rack up thousands of yards in his career.
I never took the time to go look. I really should.
And for George Pickens, you might get an extra 500 yards out of him that he doesn't catch, but he is the threat of being a deep ball threat. And that's the way it turns out.
Right. Alec, any particular, before we go back to the text, as you can guess, Franklin injury attorney text line, a lot of thank you notes for Brandon Aubrey, which all of that feels fair because you hit one of the more ridiculous field goals in, I'm not kidding, in the history of the NFL. You were 2 yards short of the record. It was just the fourth kick ever made in a regular season game from that distance, and you did it with no time left to tie the game.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Like, you got a serial kicker on the loose, as Jane Slater said.
I do
after the game,
do like that.
And his name is Brandon Aubrey, and he's just incredible. But I'm going to say thank you to Javonte Williams.
Yeah.
For proving pretty much all of us wrong that maybe we do have a steady hand in the backfield, and his name is Javonte Williams. He's looking consistent. He's looking powerful. He might not be his rookie self that he was 5 years ago, but he's consistent. He's powerful. In that in-between the tackles run game, that power running game, it's impressed me. It's only been 2 games, but I expected the power running to be non-existent. I knew they were going to have to do it because the offensive line is still somewhat young in some areas. I knew they were going to be forced into situations where they were going to have to run downhill and run downhill a lot. They're doing it by design, and they're succeeding early on against a defensive front that looked pretty good yesterday for the Giants, in all honesty. So I've been impressed, more than impressed, with Javonte Williams. And hey, small shout out to Miles Sanders for looking a little bit better yesterday too.
You know what? I'm glad that you said that, because I think it was the first couple carries that I was kind of like total overreaction. I was like, why is this person on the team?
Yep.
And then he turned it around, but like maybe I was still bitter about the fumble from last week. I don't know what the case was, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm still bitter about the fumble. Like, I think that changed the game, but also obviously the Lightning changed the game too. The Javonte Williams scored me 24 fantasy points. He was slated to score 13.
Oh,
so he was almost 17 over. Because almost not
carry the one.
If you and divide by 6. But guess what? Saquon Barkley only scored me 16. So who's the better running back?
I mean, I'll still go with Saquon for one more week.
Who's
the
Eagles fan now?
Yeah, we'll put together a running back power rankings. I feel like we have to give a thank you note to James Hudson III.
Yes.
For, as what one texter just said, forgetting how to play football. Now,
I'm not sure he even knew.
Yahoo said that perhaps he could have been kicked out for the pseudo hand open haymaker across the helmet of James Houston. But seeing as how a Cowboys player did the exact same thing the week before and did not get penalized for it, I'm not going to hate on that too much. But what a catastrophe he was. And then to see him get heated on the sideline for pulling him out of the game, like, you don't even have to ask that question. Why did you pull me out? Because you don't seem to know what you're doing in the game of football whatsoever. Yeah. And so, thank you note to him for making that happen. And also, thank you note to all of the James Houston believers out there who thought that he could be a functional player on this team. I think early on, he's absolutely shown to be that.
Name one.
I mean, I feel like that play I just mentioned,
not the play. Name one person who was pulling for him.
Me.
Look at that. Kevin wanted to thank himself just now, basically, is
Alec.
What happened.
And not Mickey. I'm just kidding, Mickey. I love Mickey. Obviously, it was after the last.
You only give a hard time to the people you love.
Exactly. Yeah. It was only after the last preseason game where he was like, all right, I get it. Why you been? Because we had asked him about James Houston. He was like, "Why do you guys keep asking me about?"
Because we want to know.
Yeah.
And he was like, "All right, fine, I'll look into it." And he was like, "You guys might be right."
Yeah. So I appreciate that, and I appreciate
he can say that more too if he wants.
That we were right.
You guys are right.
Oh man, that's a good idea. Do you want to give him a list of things that we were right about?
Check them all off, man, because we're right about a lot of things.
Okay.
Sometimes.
All right. From the 214, thank you to Brandon Aubrey for being the Cowboys MVP this year. I'm going to go back and I'm going to study the 1981 NFL MVP race. I believe that was the year that a kicker was named the MVP, and I need to know the ins and outs of how that happened. That might have been a work stoppage season as well, so maybe that impacted it. But if ever there were going to be a kicker to win the MVP, it would be Brandon Aubrey. But that probably won't happen. Okay, serious question then, real quick. Brandon Aubrey makes 12 60-plus yard field goals this season, and 7 of them are game winners. And the Cowboys win the division. Is he the MVP?
He should be.
But seriously, does he?
I'll give it to him.
Does he even get like real consideration?
Yes, I do. I honestly, if it's game winners, that's significant, especially late game winners. If you're closing the clock down and he's kicking those field goals for wins, then yes, that means that the rest of the team wasn't doing their job, putting you ahead by 20 and embarrassing the opponent. So that's a big deal right there. Also, I did appreciate how Steven did not refuse to negotiate. He refused to negotiate Brandon Aubrey's contract live on air. I said, how much pie does he deserve?
Yeah.
And he said, he's great at kicking the football, basically is what I heard. And we appreciate what he's doing.
Yeah, I mean, that is fair.
Thank you to Dak. You can say that he played like garbage. That dude.
I
not you.
don't. Oh,
not
I was
you.
going to say,
I've
I don't
seen some
feel
people
that
say
way.
that they just, and some people just, they want Dak to not do well. Some people feel they just have an opinion of Dak. He is leading the league in big throws right now. He is, according to Pro Football Focus, he's at the top of the list in big time throws, and he is doing it at a very nice clip, about 3 a week. So that's a big deal there too. This dude he's playing at a very high level. The rest of the thing around him is not playing at the highest level though.
Sure.
But so far what we've seen out of Dak Prescott is a better quarterback than I believe I was watching last year to start the season.
Okay, and I know the numbers will obviously turn out decidedly different. For a good chunk of the game, like the first 3 quarters, did you think that he played better in week 1 than he did yesterday?
It was clunky. The offense just wasn't, I'll use that word a lot. The offense just did not look in tune for whatever reason. And you can go back and blame it on a variety of reasons. But whenever it's time, it seems like Dak's playing at dude, this goes back to his entire career. That first half, that swing right there was bad. The play calling just looked weird. The execution looked weird. But there were times whenever they sped up things and Dak was very good when it looked like a 2-minute drill.
Yeah.
And that's his whole career. Hasn't it always felt like that whenever it's tempo, whenever it's this? And then you go, okay, finally, all right, screw it. We're going to do tempo right out of the gate. And then it's like, well, no, I'm not actually good at that. And you're like, when are you at your best? He's like, I don't know. I'll figure it out.